Well, Jesus, you need Gail to have those awesome King David genes so that you can make love to your bride in the millennium. Satan walked in circles around me. Kind of stupid to pin all your hopes on one woman as the means to make love to your bride, don't you think? Ha ha ha! Oh, but my King David woman will happen, Satan. By the time I'm through with your Jewish race, you won't have any King David genes left on earth with which to make your Gail. Ha ha ha! He jumped and had a party. I didn't tell Satan that I planned to make my King David woman half Catherine the Great. If my woman was born with strong Catherine the Great genes, they would draw any King David genes into dominance in the baby, causing all royal genes in the child to be dominant. Satan didn't know that I planned to use Catherine the Great's genes, especially since these genes would not come into the baby because she was descended from Catherine the Great. To get Satan sidetracked, because he'd be all focused on where the Jews went like Europe and Asia, I decided to use Japan to help me in my mission to bring Catherine the Great into my Gail. I needed to use royal genes that honored my great name. I absolutely could not allow my semen to enter an unworthy woman. Ha 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 ha! Jesus, Satan laughed. I will corrupt all the good royals and those I can't corrupt. I will kill. You won't have any royals left to work with to bring forth those glorious King David genes in your Gail. I could have killed Satan outright, but we needed him to give my bride, the church, a choice, so that she would choose to love me of her own free will. Yeah, let's use Vladimir the Great of Russia. His children Boris and Gleb will die for honor and have vast hearts. I will force Vladimir's children to go to the Japans as exiles from Russia. Well, I finished them off, Jesus. Can't use Vladimir the Great for your Gail. I got his corrupt child on the throne in his place, and I'll finish the rest of the kids off in Japan. I see you sent them there. To distract Satan, I worked with many good royals all over the world, hoping Satan would ignore Japan. But that buzzer didn't miss a beat. Bunch of Buddhists over here. You going to use these Vladimir royal genes in your Gail here in Japan? Of course, back in 1050, Satan didn't know that Catherine the Great would be born 700 years later. But I did something clever. I caused the same gene pool that would produce Catherine the Great to go to Russia in the form of Vladimir the Great's children. The trick was to keep those genes alive. I had them marry into the Abe clan, and Abe no Yoritoki's daughter Yo would get the genes going. They're all killing each other, Jesus. I'm going to annihilate that Abe clan with those Russian royal genes to be sure you aren't up to something. It was horrible that I had to sit back and watch as Satan went after my woman's lover, whose name was Sunikyo. He caused a civil war between the Abe and the Genji in Japan. Satan's goal was to kill off Sunikyo and his child, who I had my hopes set on. That child had the genes of Catherine the Great, from both his mother Yo and his father Sunikyo. That child's name was Kiyohira. Looks like you may be working through Yo and Sunikyo. They really love each other. Disgusting. I'm going to kill her husband Sunikyo, and then the child will go too. Oh, it broke my heart to see all the chopped heads, the bloodshed, the violence. Satan had my Sunikyo beheaded with a blunt sword because he refused to betray his wife and disgraced his mother and father's side, the Genji side. At that time, the Genji were honoring Satan. Sunikyo loved his wife enough to die for her, which made him worthy of Gail's genes. Sunikyo made his wife Yo promise to live on for their son Kiyohira, and so the poor woman ended up marrying a Kiyohara, a man who was on the side that killed her husband, Sunikyo. But at least my Kiyohira lived. I needed him to live to bring Catherine the Great into my Gail. Oh, doesn't Kiyohira look so lonely there with his mother staring out forlornly into space like her life's over? You failed your Gail, Jesus. I've got those glorious royal genes all depressed. They will all kill themselves. Those Abe Catherine the Great genes are doomed. Your glorious Kiyohita is stuck living with the Kiyohara clan, and they start wars over nothing. They are really on my side. Ha ha ha! Starting a war over an insult at a wedding party? That snobby Kiyohara doesn't want to acknowledge the gold present from his friend. Once they start the killing, your Kiyohita is dead. Satan used Genji Yoshie, a man on the side who killed Kiyohita's father Tsunikyo, and Sanahita Kiyohara, one of Kiyohita's many brothers in this confusing mess of brothers in his new Kiyohara family, to suppress Yo's two children, Kiyohita from Tsunikyo and Iyahita from Takesada Kiyohara, different fathers. Satan had the Kiyoharas all fighting each other. They all had different fathers and mothers and therefore different loyalties. Iyahita and Kiyohita had to surrender to Genji Yoshie. But then Iyahita got mad at Kiyohita because Conqueror Yoshie gave Kiyohita the richer section of northern Japan. Yeah, and Iyahita is the son of Yo. She had a baby with the same man who killed her husband, Tsunikyo. And she loves the kid, Iyahita. And loves Kiyohita, too. What a mess I've created. Women have a soft spot for their babies, even if they're evil. But of course Satan must not win. He had Iyahita try to kill Kiyohita, forcing Kiyohita to hide under a bridge, while Iyahita looked for him. This made Kiyohita decide to line up with Genji Yoshie, and another war started. Yoshie and Kiyohita fought against Iyahita. Oh, how Yo was upset. She begged Kiyohita not to fight his half-brother, but it was my will for Kiyohita to defend himself, because he had the genes I needed in my Gail. Yo lost her way, and Iyahita was killed. She died of a broken heart. Kiyohita honored Yoshie with a big party, giving him lavish gifts and dances from beautiful women. Though Yoshie won a big victory for Kiyohita, it was ignored by the authorities, and Yoshie was relieved of his leadership of northern Japan and sent back to Kyoto. But he and Kiyohita became best friends forever, and I used Yoshie to protect my Kiyohita as the new leader of northern Japan. Satan was furious. The genes were living on. Kiyohita's son, Motohita, succeeded his father Kiyohita as leader of northern Japan, or Hiraizumi, as they called it. I had Motohita marry an Abe Russian royal woman, thus increasing Vladimir the Great's genes in the Oshu Fujiwara family, which was the name of Kiyohita and his successors. Motohita's son Hidehita became the king of northern Japan. Hidehita knew about his grandfather Kiyohita's friendship with Yoshie. Yoshie's great-great-grandson was like an orphan and needed a home. His name was Yoshitsune, but he was one of the greatest warriors in Japan. Oh, Yoshitsune wears blue like his heart. I will use Yoshitsune to destroy those Catherine the Great genes in your glorious Oshu Fujiwara family. Gail's genes are a bunch of devout Buddhists who don't believe in war. And they're harboring one of the best warriors in the world. What a bunch of hypocrites you have in the genes of your glorious Gail. I tried to talk to Yoshitsune about his brother Yoritomo, but he was such a warrior, all he could think of was victory in war and wanting to get revenge for his Genji clan's downfall against the Heike. He didn't listen to me. I did want Yoshitsune to be safe, and was glad that Hidehita allowed him to live with the Fujiwaras, Gail's family. I got Yoshitsune all riled up. He's such a great warrior. I have great plans for him. I might use him to build a great kingdom for me. In the meanwhile, I got to use him to start a war between the Genji and Hidehita, so I can kill off all of Gail's family. Right now, I got Yoshitsune determined to help his brother Yoritomo, who has started a campaign to regain Genji glory in Japan, to defeat the Heike, who humiliated him and his brother Yoritomo. These Japanese are all caught up in loyalty to their clans, even if their clan is evil. I can use this fanaticism and emotional loyalty to your family despite everything to my ends. Fanatical zealots always served me well." "Doesn't he look glorious in red?" Satan was laughing. Gail's Fujiwara family tried to convince Yoshitsune to honor Buddha and pray for peace in Japan. They so honored me with their dreams for peace. They built beautiful Buddha monuments all over northern Japan. "Do not go to war with the Heiki," Hidehira said to Yoshitsune. "How do you know that Yoritomo won't be a worse leader than the Heiki? You don't even know your brother." But Yoshitsune dreamed of revenge for his Genji clan in his sleep. He fought for his brother Yoritomo and jumped from one Heiki ship to another, finishing off the Heiki with his brilliant war strategy and soldier skills. He won the war for his brother Yoritomo, and the Genji now ruled most of Japan, except the north, where Gail's family lived. Now that Yoritomo had become king over all of Japan except the north, he lusted for the north. He knew his brother Yoshitsune would oppose him if he went to war with Hidehira, who gave Yoshitsune refuge. He decided to kill his brother Yoshitsune, who got him the victory, under the excuse that his brother was trying to kill him. Yoshitsune fled for the north to stay alive, while fleeing Yoritomo, who pursued him. Yoshitsune even disguised himself as a monk to stay alive on his journey. He had a close call, and Benkei, his retainer, put on a good performance as a priest, and the Buddhist priest who apprehended them let Yoshitsune live, and Yoshitsune made it to Hiraizumi, where Hidehira greeted him warmly. Satan gave Hidehira a deadly illness, and he died very shortly after Yoshitsune arrived. Hidehira's son Yasuhira succeeded his father as the leader of the north. A devout Buddhist, he would not fight Yoritomo, but he also would not kill Yoshitsune. So this caused Yasuhira's uncle to try to murder Yoshitsune in a secret mission to appease Yoritomo. Yasuhira's sister, who loved Yoshitsune, learned of his death and killed herself. Oh, how my heart broke for Gail's family. Benkei, Yoshitsune's retainer, died standing up, defending Yoshitsune with arrows all over his chest. But Yoshitsune feigned suicide and escaped to the north, becoming the Genghis Khan. I actually wanted Yasuhira to fight Yoritomo, but knew he wouldn't. By the time he realized how evil Yoritomo was, he allowed his brother Kunihira to wage a defense. But Kunihira's forces were defeated. Yasuhira fled to the north, and Satan had Yasuhira's own retainer behead Yasuhira. "Well, Jesus, what you gonna do now? Looks like Gail's Catherine the Great genes are dead in Japan." Satan was laughing when the scene came where Yoritomo entered Hiraizumi as a victor and claimed the north. I didn't disclose this to you until now, but what you have heard is a movie Satan created for me to watch in 1796 in Russia. That's when he figured out that I was using the Oshu Fujiwara genes to be Catherine the Great for my Gail. By 1796, the Oshu Fujiwara were long gone, and their progeny lived on in Japan, in a Russian royal tribe that came from the Emishi called the Ainu. Yes, the Ainu are a minority in Japan, and they will be treated like slaves, Satan mocked me. Gail will go nowhere. I've transformed your Russian royals into a bunch of slaves. Ha ha ha! Satan laughed while I viewed the scene of northern Japan on fire with only burnt remains. I don't discuss my plans with you, Satan. Back to Yasuhira. Yasuhira's wife didn't listen to me and killed herself in despair. But Yasuhira's children escaped to the mountains to live with the Emishi, where the Russian royals lived, and my Gail lived on. Tsunikyo, Yo, Kiyohira, Motohira, Hidehira, and Yasuhira and his wife dance in the streets of heaven.